Hello students, today I have come up with a new topic, that is story writing. Story writing is an important topic in our board examination. Story writing is an interesting chapter. Story writing is an art. Students, you have learned in class 9 on the chapter named Ishwaran the Storyteller. So you need to remember Ishwaran the Storyteller. Here in the story writing, you also need to become like Ishwaran, who was known as the storyteller. Yes, students, you have been listening to different kind of stories right from your childhood. You have been hearing stories narrated by your grandparents, parents, and well-wishers. So same kind of stories we need to write in our board examination to get good marks. In the story writing, what is expected from us is that we need to write the story in a very interesting manner. We need to make it more interesting. We need to make it lively. And here I am going to guide you through the points how to write good stories. Just you be ready and I will be guiding you through how to write good stories. There are some points which will help us to write good stories. So here, short story. Reading stories is the favorite pastimes of many across all age groups. Everybody likes to listen to a story. There are so many people who speak about storytelling. Storytelling is an art. Since prehistoric times, tales with stories have formed an essential part of human interaction and experience. Story writing can also be fun if we bear some important points in mind. Means if we know how to write. Guidelines for good story writing. An interesting plot, an interesting point which will make the story interesting. Plot is the backbone of a good story. The plot refers to the sequence of events in a story or a play. One after another, one after another. The flow, the sequence will make the story very interesting. A story is regarded as a complete whole. Therefore, while writing, it should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. In every long piece of writing, we have the title, we have introduction, body, conclusion. So introduction is always the first chapter, conclusion is always the last chapter, the last paragraph. So, where you can change the paragraph? You can change the paragraph after the introduction. That means in the body. You can change the paragraph as many as you want. But in the board examination you cannot, because there is a word limit. The word limit for story writing is 150 to 200 words. This is asked for 10 marks. Remember. So all linked together and knitted as a whole. You have to do like a weaver who weaves cloth and make it a beautiful cloth. In the same way, you have to knit with words, sentences and paragraph and make it very interesting. The different events must be connected and should follow a chronological order, systematic order. Sometimes a fact or past event may also be part of the story. A character may think of or refer to it and it may be linked in some way to the plot. The background of the story or the setting in which the story is framed is usually described in the beginning. It may be done by giving details of the time, place, surroundings, etc. The atmosphere should be realistic so that the reader can visualize it. The character in the story must also appear to be real, but they could also be imaginary like fairies, giants, aliens, elves, etc. It is important to decide beforehand the character that you would like to include in the story and what role will each character perform. Each should have distinct qualities and play an important role as the plot unfolds in the course of the story. The story should begin on an interesting note and capture the interest of the reader at the outset. At the outset means in the beginning. It affects the mood and the outlook of the reader towards the story as a whole. For example, like once upon a time, there was a man. He had 4 sons. You have to begin this way, more interesting and impressive, and this will help you. A story has a number of events. Some of these events can be grouped together in a paragraph. There should be unity of time, place and action in the events, happenings narrated in a paragraph. The middle part of the story contains details of various action and events. They should be connected and one event or action should lead to the other. The transition should be natural. The shifting of ideas from one paragraph to another should be logical. The writer may reveal the plot through a narrative or use the characters to do so. It should be interesting and gripping. So, suppose you are writing a story, then you are the writer. So, you have to keep this in mind. The story can be more captivating and attractive if it has an appropriate quantity of dialogues or conversations in it at the right places. This gives a fresh feel to the story. To make the plot interesting, some crucial problems, important problems, or difficult situations or persons as characters should be a part of it. In order to make the story more appealing to the reader, more interesting to the reader, many adjectives, idioms, similes, metaphors, etc. may be used for describing places, people, and the events. The ending of the story should be interesting, clear, and definite. Some stories may have a twist at the end. The ending should not be vague or abrupt. That means you should not end the story all of a sudden. It should be natural and give a feeling of completion and satisfaction to the reader. This way you should write story and you will get good points, good marks in the examination. Secondly, you need to keep some more points in mind while writing a story based on the cues. Cues means hints or outlines. See, in the board examination, you are asked in the question paper, you are asked 2 questions and out of that you have to answer only one. You need to decide one. So you need to read it carefully. Read the outlines or cues carefully and get a grasp of the main plot of the story. Plan out the complete story. Make a note of the main points. Do not leave out any important detail or point and place the events in proper order. Include any links that are missing. Begin the story and go directly to the point you want to focus on. Develop the story and let the different parts be balanced. Introduce conversations, dialogue wherever possible. This will make the story interesting. Use idioms and proverbs wherever required. Use simple and easy to grasp language, easy to understand language in your writing. Also, use different kinds of expressions and sentences so that there is no monotony in the story. There will be no boredom in the story. Be consistent in the use of tenses and avoid mixing up the tenses. The heading or the title of the story should be catchy, very attractive and interesting. It can be based on the main character or happening or a popular proverb also. The events should gradually lead to the ending in a natural manner without being abrupt. Good impact. Without being abrupt. Means you should not end your story all of a sudden. The story usually conveys a moral or a message which may be given at the end to leave good impact. It is important to understand clearly that most of the cues or outlines are given in the present tense, whereas the story is usually in the past tense. Sometimes it is specified, otherwise words like meanwhile, nevertheless, whereas, at, yet, though, etc. are used to establish links between sentences, parts, events. So, you need to write in past tense. simple past tense, past continuous and past perfect tense. So this will create uniformity in your story writing. Secondly, you need to write in a very systematic and attractive way. You need to use the words properly so that it will make your story a very attractive one. Let me tell you the CBSE marking scheme for story writing. For title, you will be getting 1 mark. Title should be short and sweet. Content, the matter, the main thing, what you have discussed in the story, that will give you 4 marks. It should be good one. Good plot will bring you good marks. Accuracy, exactness, the following of the words, tenses, the following sequence of tenses, simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and choice of words, uniformity, word limit, so 150 to 200 words. This will bring you 2.5 marks. Fluency, the language, fluency, the flow of your thoughts, the flow of your language, 2.5 marks. So you will get total of 10 marks. My dear students, you need to work hard because you are getting 10 marks for this story writing. Just you need to experience, just you need to think before you write a good story. We have been listening to the stories right from our childhood almost, and this will help us. We have studied in lower classes also. So this will help us to write good stories. So know the points and make your story a beautiful one. I hope you have understood, and now I will guide you through a sample of one story. Let me give you an example of one story. Here I have a story, Adventure by Moonlight. See, the title is written in the block letters, capital letters. So you also write in capital letters. This will attract the reader's attention. And paragraph, when you and maintain spacing, space. See, the title is written in the center, and you have to follow the left alignment and right alignment, top margin, left margin, and after every paragraph, 1 line spacing should be made. See, you can see how the paragraph has been started. The paragraph has started here. WEV, like that, from here, and ending. There is uniformity. This is called full block style. So after the first paragraph, second paragraph, 1 line space is there. Second, then after second paragraph, 1 line space. Third paragraph, then after that again 1 line space. Fourth paragraph, after again fourth paragraph, 1 line space. Fifth paragraph, the last one, sixth paragraph. So you can divide your story into 4 to 5, or you can go up to 6 to 7 paragraphs. This will make your story very interesting and clear. I hope you have understood and you will implement in your story writing. I want you to write story writing in your notebook. You have a writing and grammar part. So you write 1 or 2 stories of your own choice to make it for making of your note. This will help you to write good stories every time whenever you are asked questions during examinations. Thank you and have a pleasant day.